Man has always considered whales as an important source of food or raw material. It probably all started when a man stumbled on the carcass of a whale that had washed up on some shore somewhere. In fact, we have found whale bones associated with stone tools. Their bones could have served in making harpoons, which afterwards were used in some form of primitive whaling, first done on small boats and then on larger and improved ships. Tools made of bones or stones were replaced by those made of steel and by improved and more efficient harpoons. And toward the end of whaling, these harpoons gave way to even more lethal harpoons equipped with explosive heads. In 1985, most world countries ceased all commercial whaling, probably more as a result of decreasing profit margins rather than a real concern for conservation. A few countries, such as Norway and Japan, however, still practice traditional or so-called scientific whaling. Their target, the minke whale. Although current whaling is aimed at species which can sustain a certain amount of harvesting, there are other most insidious dangers that can threaten certain coastal and even pelagic species. They consist of accidental catches in various fishing gears and the effects of water pollution. Fishermen use drift or moored nets, which turn out to be deadly traps for cetaceans. Among the victims are most often dolphins and porpoises, but they can also include the large whales as well. Even more insidious than fishing gears is the threat that water and sediment pollution exerts on the survival of several cetacean species. Since most cetaceans are at or near the top of the food chain, they accumulate high concentrations of organic and metallic pollutants in their body, and especially in their blubber. The contaminants return into circulation each time the animal's body comes under alimentary stress. Lactating females will incorporate them in their rich milk, and the sucklings will be contaminated at the nipple. Among the various facts involving cetaceans, there is one that particularly affects those who are witnesses to it: the stranding of dead or living whales. On such occasions, their colossal size becomes perfectly apparent. Sometimes it involves isolated cases where the individuals involved are most often very old, wounded, or sick. On other occasions, large herds mass strand, and individuals that are pushed back into the water eventually return back to the shore. These cases are very often interpreted as suicides. What kind of explanations can we put forth which would clarify these behaviors? We have briefly commented on a possible disorganization of the animal's acoustical tracking system, its biosonar, caused by the presence of parasites in their ears. We often do find nematodes, parasitic worms, in cetacean ears, as seen here on this picture of the ear of a harbor porpoise. We cannot ascertain, however, that the presence of these worms is linked in any way to strandings. However, included with the most reasonable causes for strandings are navigational errors resulting from inexperience of certain specimens or from abnormal fluctuations in the Earth's magnetic field. These fluctuations will lead individuals into an area where the tide can entrap them or drive them directly ashore. Cetologist Margaret Klonowska has reported that strandings involving living animals almost always take place in areas where the curves of the Earth's magnetic field are at a right angle and following a magnetic storm. The mass strandings of pilot whales could be explained by navigational errors combined with the pod's great cohesiveness. As a matter of fact, only one stranding individual emitting various distress signals is needed to attract the other members of the herd and to make them strand one by one.